A ceasefire in Gaza at 23 after 7 has been taken off the table while we've been sleeping overnight by the Israeli Prime Minister, a move he says is supported by US President Joe Biden. That is no ceasefire. The comments were made yesterday in an exclusive interview with ABC's World News Tonight. Take a look.
The president himself has said that a ceasefire would be a surrender to Hamas. It would be a victory for Hamas, and you would no more have it than you would have a ceasefire after the Al-Qaeda bombings of the World Trade Center.
University of Otago international relations expert Robert Patman is with us this morning. Robert, very quickly on this particular issue, the ceasefire, do you agree and does the president agree with Benjamin Netanyahu?
I personally think an immediate ceasefire is in order, and I think coupled with a demand for the release of the hostages. But the United States and Israel at the moment is opposing a ceasefire. What the Americans are doing is pushing for a humanitarian pause, which is a rather vague term. And as Mr. Netanyahu indicated in his interview with ABC yesterday, that could consist of just 1 or 2 hours, which for those people who are on the receiving end of a relentless bombardment 24/7, that would be almost a torment to have the bombing turned off for just 1 or 2 hours and then it to be turned on again. So I don't think that's really a runner at the moment.
A lot of people are calling this genocide and using that word, not our government. Is it, and should we be?
Well, I think you probably need someone who's got more legal expertise than myself, but it's certainly, I think there are activities which are going beyond the scope of humanitarian law. Remember, our former Foreign Minister, Nanaia Mahuta, said right at the outset that New Zealand supported Israel's right of defense, providing it was within the framework of humanitarian law. And it's quite clear that the Israeli response is outside the scope of humanitarian law. So possible war crimes have been committed both by Hamas in their original terror attack and also in the disproportionate response. We only have to look at civilian casualties. 10,000 Palestinians have died since the 7th of October. 40% of those, or even more, are children. They must, by definition, be innocent.
Robert, the Israeli Prime Minister also said in that interview with ABC that after the war is over, that Israel plans to take control of security in Gaza. Who controls it now, and how would that change the region?
Well, at the moment, Hamas is technically in control of Gaza, but of course that control has been compromised by the bombardment and also the offensive, the ground offensive that's occurring. The Israelis have effectively cut Gaza into two with control of Gaza City in the northern part of the Strip. The whole question about whether, I think it's quite conceivable Israel will attempt to reoccupy Gaza after the hostilities are over. It remains unclear whether they're about to do that yet. But if they do, that would be a tremendous blow to the Americans, indeed much of the international community's desire for a two-state solution. Many of us have been skeptical about this military campaign launched by the Israelis, because while it's quite correct to bring those responsible for that terrorist atrocity to account, the very blanket nature of this response has killed a lot of innocent people, which only becomes an obstacle to a two-state solution. So, in short, the reoccupation of Gaza would seem to be a serious obstacle to a two-state solution whereby there could be a reconciliation between the Israeli desire for security and also the Palestinian desire for statehood.
All right. Thanks for that analysis this morning, Robert Patman, the University of Otago international relations expert.